Hey guys, Youngblood with you, and as I've been flying around and seeing different parts for sale at different locations like Dumper's Depot, I've wanted to try and make some changes to ships, particularly with some stealth components. The main reason I'm testing stealth is because speed is more determined by your engines, and you can't really swap those out yet. And weapons are weapons, and we've covered that a lot in the past, but stealth with output and other factors is interesting. I personally love the Saber. It's my go-to fighter, but I don't really care about the stealth aspects of the ship, at least at the moment. So why not try and maximize the other things the ship can do a little bit better? It's got a stealth power plant, but what impact does swapping that out actually have on the performance of the ship? So I started looking at the numbers. And the Saber comes equipped with the TYDT Sonic Light power plant, actually 3 of them, which are all size 1 C-grade stealth class power plants. Now, looking in the depot, I found Aegis Regulus power plants, which are the same size and grade as the Sonic Light. However, they're military-class power plants, which is interesting. So, looking at the stats on these two different plants, the military one had much higher performance at 120 compared to 80 on the stealth, though the signals were much higher at 115 compared to 86, and efficiency was fairly close, but the stealth was about 10 points higher at 105 compared to 95. But those are just numbers, right? So how does that equate to ship performance in regard to overall capability and stealth? Well, on the screen, on the left-hand side, I've got the Saber SOC loadout, or configuration for power plants. And on the right, I have the military-grade Regulus. Now, it's worth noting that I tossed tarantulas on the ship because I like them, so these signatures aren't necessarily the numbers that you're going to see with the stock loadouts, but it is the same weapons in both scenarios on the left and right, so the testing holds up. First, let's look at the regular flight mode. And we see that the usage is an immediate difference because these two classes of components are different. The stealth is using 82% of the power plant's overall capacity, not leaving you with a lot of headroom. The military is using only 55% of its capacity. Now, my shields weren't being forced to recharge and I'm not firing like a wild man, but this means two things. One, the lower usage of the military power plant means that I could probably multitask across systems a little bit better, but also that I could end up running higher yield equipment if I chose to. Now, in the real signature areas, we see that heat has a difference of about 40 to 50, and IR has a difference of about 800 or so. But where the real delta is with the EM signature, having the stealth at 13,000 and the military at 17,000. That's a big difference, and the biggest reason why the Saber in stock configuration is stealthy at all times, meaning what we would expect, that it's sacrificing power output for stealth overall. When we run the ship in stealth mode, we see that the output drops significantly, and the difference in usage shrinks, with the stealth being at about 20% usage and the military at 17%. That's likely due to the power plant being designed to work in low power situations more effectively, as well as having only core systems powered on. That also means that there's not a whole lot of opportunity for big differences here. As far as the signatures go, there's a difference of about 350 or so in heat between the two, favoring stealth, but we see huge improvements from the EM and IR signatures showing about 1,900 less for EM and a really big difference of about 6,000 less for the IR signature. The benefit is clearly seen in the signature output. But seeing the performance difference, we're kind of limited in how much testing we can do now. Later on, if we can add more powerful engines or maneuvering thrusters that have, I guess the requirement of more power, then we're going to start to see more performance benefits as well. But what I'm planning on doing is actually going in and actually adding in, military-grade coolers and military-grade, shield generators and seeing how much of an impact that has, and I think it's going to be significant. So now that we're earning credits and we can buy items, I think it's time to really start looking at components that you're going to want to bring along and finding the right combination for you and your ship. Now, as a reminder, the size that you can equip is determined by the slot on your ship. Grades are about the quality of the component, with A being the best possible item and D being totally junky. Finally, classifications tend to be that military has very high performance, but it's expensive and has a lot of emissions. Stealth sacrifices functionality for lower signature and power requirements. Industrial is going to be high output but high emissions, but it's also going to be considered durable. Competition typically performs the best of the group but uses a lot more power and has a lot of signature. And civilian is basically well-rounded stuff. So start looking at items in shops, consider if they're worth adding to your ship, and kind of make your ship your own. If you have questions on any of this, let me know. Otherwise, stay tuned for a lot more coming soon. As testing progresses, I'll end up giving you more. Otherwise, have yourselves a wonderful day, and take care.